Hey, just a quick disclaimer up front. Partway into the show, we have some brownouts that occur. Some silly fool ran into a telephone pole and it blew a transformer. Big rolling brownouts. Didn't realize it until afterwards that it kind of screwed with our sound a bit. Cleaned it up the best I can, but it does get a little crackly for a bit in there. Yeah, just wanted to explain ahead of time. It sounds a bit better if you do it play it at 1.5 times speed. You don't hear the crackle as much. It's my recommendation. Sorry about that. Enjoy the show. Beyond weird crackly noises.
Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
I'm gonna have to come with me. No. When do we start?
Welcome back to the Editor's Note Podcast, Central Maine's best comic book podcast by default. And yes, I have been given full and total control of the podcast this week. Zach?
I just don't want to work.
Partially true.
I'm a busy man.
Well, kind of. Mostly. But boy, do we have a great show for you today.
It's tax season. I'm doing other things.
Oh,
I'm counting numbers, and that's
usually what one does with numbers is they count with them. Yes, it's not like you're...
Math is my worst quality. Yes, it's a quality, and it's what I'm worst at.
It's a skill, I guess.
I don't have it.
No, apparently not. So, how goes the weekend? How was your weekend? How was your week last week?
I don't even know. What day is this?
It's, Monday when we're recording, Wednesday when the show comes out, if you're on Patreon.
I've been doing tax stuff, getting ready for that. Turns out I sunk a lot of money into this business. That's what I learned.
Well, I'm not overly surprised. I mean, it is a business.
When I counted all the stuff, I'm like, that's a lot of money.
Well, you are running a multi-million-dollar corporation.
Not true. False, actually.
Okay. Well, fair enough. You're running a limited liability corporation.
Yes, that's the
I remember the day that you got your LLC. You're like, I'm a corporation. I'm like, you're an LLC. You're the lemonade stand of corporations.
Yep. I've talked about this before. Like, if I had to go back and, start another business, I couldn't do it. Like, I would have to relearn everything that I learned. I learned it all just long enough to do it.
Ah.
If I had to do it a second time, I'd be like, I don't know. If someone's like, how do you start a business? I don't know. Read some stuff on the internet, I guess.
Drink cheap whiskey.
Because I don't remember.
Ah. I like the thought of James. Like, how do you start a business? Oh, I drank a lot of cheap whiskey and had a bad idea.
I don't know.
I didn't like the job I had, so I wanted to make my own.
I made it up as I went along.
Fair enough.
I do regret some of the stuff. If I could start, I'd be so much better with money than I was in the beginning. So bad with money, it's insane. All I would say, if you're going to start a business, I will tell you this up front. Every decision you make is the wrong decision.
Who'd want to ever be in business then? That sounds terrible.
That's what I learned anyway. Everything you do, at least your initial instinct on everything when you start a business, is wrong.
Especially having me be on your podcast.
You did the wrong thing for your initial choice.
I'm going to actually tell you that having me on your podcast was the first right decision you made in your business.
Good. I don't know how long that was.
No, not that. About,
less than a year, a little bit, 8-ish months.
Yeah, you wanted to get settled in before you started doing the podcast.
At that point, Well, my original idea was to do a weekly newsletter, and then it became this instead.
This is way more fun.
Yeah, than me typing hey gang, buy stuff!
Yeah, look at you. You're peaking big time today. You're excited. You're excitable. I like it. Shall we go to the news?
Are we doing the news? The format is your own.
No, I brought the news.
Okay.
I'm sticking to the format. Listen, on the show, we promise you at least 5 good minutes, but now that I'm hosting, it's going to be a solid show, top to bottom. More than just 5 good minutes in this hour.
Me too. So, the news, I guess. We'll leave a space for an intro, a theme song, if you will.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
All right. Well, where do you want to start? There's a lot of news. I got 12 news items. We'll start off with the softball, the easy one. Star Wars broke $1 billion.
Yeah.
$1.25 billion worldwide.
They broke $1 billion last week, but they just keep on climbing.
Yeah, but they finally are no longer number one. They're no longer the number one movie in America. So for everyone who hated it, it was number one for 3 weeks. Guess what number one is now?
It's not Coco, is it?
Nope, it's not Coco.
Oh, The Post?
Nope, not The Post either. I don't think The Post is out yet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they just had... that's the 12th, isn't it? What the hell else is out right now? I don't even know.
Friend of the show, Dwayne Johnson starring in the movie Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji.
Jumanji is the number one movie in America right now, yeah.
Jumanji 2, the sequel no one asked for.
Sticking with Star Wars news, something a little relevant. Last night, the Golden Globes, just a quick hitter. Ewan McGregor said he still would be open to and would be happy to reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi. but that's about as far as it's getting at the moment.
Yeah, he just said it's in talks, and by talks it just means like people casually saying things.
Hey, would you be Obi-Wan Kenobi? Oh yeah, I'd love to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there you go. That's pretty much.
I thought you were asking me. I'm like, well, I do have the beard.
Yeah. Hello there.
I have more goatee than I have on the side. Yeah.
One more piece of Star Wars news, and then we'll move on. It's from the set of Solo, as we talked about. Ron Howard is the new director after replacing Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Donald Glover, who's playing Lando Calrissian, has said that the move to Ron Howard has been smooth and enjoyable, and that the majority of the cast have enjoyed the switch to him. Not a lot of drama there. And not as many reshoots as he thought. Although Paul Bettany, who's also in the movie, you might know him as Jarvis,
or the Vision.
Or the Vision.
Go for the less important one, I suppose.
So he had a few more reshoots than originally intended, so it makes me feel like Paul Bettany might be some sort of CG character, or...
Paul Bettany wasn't in the original shoot. He only came in the reshoots.
Well, all that being said, we don't have to wait very long. It's coming out in May, so...
Yeah, I also feel like that's kind of a damage control statement. That's kind of like Ben Affleck being like, no, I love the Justice League. Everything's fine. I'm not drunk and unhappy.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Let's go to some TV news, shall we?
We shall, I suppose. I have no control.
And
I've given up the reins. I have been usurped.
Oh, I meant to tell you this. Did you see the trailer for the Legion of Superheroes mid-season trailer for Supergirl?
Yeah, their return. No, I didn't watch the trailer.
No, I don't really have no idea who has
the Legion of Super. My God, they're doing like the rings and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's even hardcore Legion of Superheroes.
Even on my notes, cool rings though.
The rings are cool. They're doing the Legion rings. I didn't curse there. Trying to make editing easier on myself. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I've had to, just for time constraints, I don't watch a ton of TV, but even the TV that I do watch, I had to cut a couple of shows. I'm like, I just physically don't have the time right now.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the store, which, has consumed my life for years now.
Not years, like a couple of years.
So still plural.
Yeah. You only had, the 2 year coming up on 3 years this August?
Yeah, but yeah, Supergirl is still one of the ones that I kept because I really enjoyed that show. But they're going hardcore Legion of Superheroes. Superheroes from the year 3000, baby!
Speaking of more in the CW, confidence is high with the CW brass that the Arrowverse shows, all those shows like Supergirl, Green Arrow, etc., are going to be renewed for at least one more season after this one, with all the mid-season premieres coming out next week, including Supergirl, Green Arrow, and a brand new show, Black Lightning.
I bet Green Arrow's down to one more season. Once shows go beyond 7 seasons, they usually take a quick nosedive. I bet they're going into their last year. But I would imagine that Stephen Amell, Green Arrow, would return for guest roles, but in some of the other shows, but we'll see. That's just a personal theory, nothing more than, brownout.
Oh, wow. Well, good thing
Laptop's still running, baby. It's in a surge protector.
Nice.
Why was there a brownout? What's happening?
I don't know. The aliens.
Awesome.
But as I was saying, a new show, Black Lightning, which premieres on January 16th as a TV adaptation of the Black Lightning comics. Although we have Black Lightning now, who apparently is retired from fighting crime, and he's like a principal/superintendent of an inner city school, and his young daughter is going to be the superhero, and her name is Thunder, and we got to see some set photos and some photos of them.
I think the concept of the show is interesting. Like, I don't know why. It's probably because of the Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen, who have kind of trained my brain to be like, I really like a deconstruction of the genre, which is like an older hero coming out of retirement. So I think the concept is cool, but just for time constraints, I'm not gonna end up watching it. I just dumped one of those shows within that universe. I'm not going to pick up another one. I dumped a show that I liked, just, again, for time. I'm not about to pick up one, for the hell of it, which is too bad, because, things happen. What are you going to do? No.
What did you think of the pictures and the costumes?
A little ostentatious.
A little over the top. They light up.
Yeah. Boy, that's real Schumachery of you.
Yes. Very much a lot of vinyl. A lot of vinyl going on.
A lot of neon.
Well, from the visual medium, we're going to take a quick break from that and go to the paper medium.
So still a visual medium.
Yeah, still a visual. Well, okay, moving pictures to still pictures. Miles Morales, there's rumors going around that he may drop. No, he's kind of already dropped the Spider-Man name from what I've read, and he's been Kid Arachnid for a while now. Is that accurate?
I'm not reading that title. I don't know. Literally, the title is called Spider-Man.
Oh. So anyway, Brian Michael Bendis is doing the run. He's working on the run right now, the current Spider-Man run.
Bendis, who is leaving for DC.
Yes, so which leads people to wonder, is This is the name that's been rumored to go around. He might be changing his name, Spider-Man. He's been using Kid Arachnid, but Miles Morales might end up using Spidey. Spy-D. See it? Spidey. Get it?
I hate it, but I can also buy it. Miles Morales worked for a good long while because he was in the Ultimate Universe. Peter Parker was dead, but now that he's in the regular 616 or whatever this universe is now, it's kind of unclear after Secret Wars. There's 2 Spider-Men running around, and Marvel does that a lot less than DC does. DC is fine with like they're overall fine with like multiple characters running around with the same name. It's not unheard of with them, but Marvel does that a lot less. So I could totally see them rebranding. Just because the character is massively popular, and I imagine the popularity is only going to grow within the next year because of that Spider-Verse movie.
And it might be helping set it up. But even with Bendis heading for DC, they may not go with that name change or not, but he's been doing a lot of run on the most recent work, the most recent Spider-Man run with Miles Morales.
Yeah, he's been in that. Oh, God, I can tell you what number that title is on, but yeah, he's been doing it for a few years now.
I should have written it down, but I didn't.
It doesn't matter.
Staying with it, let's go from Marvel to DC. Here's an interesting one. Duke Thomas. Don't know if you know Duke Thomas or not.
I do know Duke.
He's Gotham's first daytime hero. He's chosen the name Signal.
The Signal.
The Signal.
He's been around for years now. They only just gave him a name.
So what's interesting about this, because little backstory, because I did a little research on Duke. He was part of a band of like rogue Robins who were kind of like underground Robins, and they're doing a mini-series right now called Batman and the Signal, which is an offshoot of the Dark Knight's Metal Run.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be 3 issues if memory serves.
But here's an interesting thing. His villain he's going to be fighting is called Null, and they're making references to something called the Dial, and a lot of people think it ties back into Dial H for Hero.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Dial H for Hero is a really interesting book.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't, what was that? It was under Adventure Comics, I think, for the Dial H for Hero series. Yeah, the whole thing was like, he didn't have a specific power set, but he would literally like use a rotary phone, and it would just come up with a random power, which of course would always help him solve the issue at hand. But
speaking of random power, there's another.
Oh my God!
Wow!
The brownouts.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, Dial H for Hero. So Duke Thomas, the Signal, has his enemy Null, who apparently is also generated from the Dial. From what I understand in my
that'd be cool.
Quick research, that he was generated or brought into being by the Dial because it would give people like it was one of those artifacts that would turn people into like metahuman.
Yeah, totally.
And that he might be like the actual center of the Dial.
That'd be cool.
So,
I would totally love that. Yeah, bring that book back.
So that's out right now, Batman and the Signal #1, and it kind of addresses a little bit of that.
Yeah, #1 is out. I think it's a 3-issue series.
Wow, I pulled something out that surprised you and wowed you.
Yeah, no, I'd like that. I totally would like that. It's a really unique series. It's also super forgotten for the most part, so that'd be a real random one to pull out.
Yeah, there you go. That's all I really had for like actual like comic-y book news, except for you said something about
The Exiles is back, baby! I love that title. I love that title so damn much.
Well, there you go. It's back.
Yeah, it's going to be back in, I think, April, because I think it's going to be in next month's order. Exiles, and you can kind of look it up. This is also the writer. He's currently writing Black Bolt, which has received a ton of acclaim, and Exiles for a long time was one of my favorite X-Men titles, especially in the late 2000s. They'll take different X-Men from different alternate realities, or maybe the main reality sometimes, and they'll go off on like these weird like alternate reality dimension hopping capers, and it's amazing. It's always been amazing. I'm so happy that book is coming back. The writer they have on it, he's done some really strong stuff. The team they have coming up is the weirdest assortment of characters, and I love that it's the weirdest assortment of characters because that's what the Exiles should be, and I'm just so thrilled that this book is coming back. Absolutely pick this book up. I have really high expectations for it.
All right.
Love Exiles.
So then that will direct me in a different way. We'll finish with DC movie news, and we'll go to Marvel and movie news. X-Force still in production, even though Disney's buying out Fox. Drew Goddard's still attached to the project. That's still a thing that's going to happen.
Goddard, is it really?
Yeah.
Where'd you read that?
On one of the sites you gave me.
Okay, no, I believe you. I didn't see that.
Goddard was a showrunner for...
Yeah, he originally was on Daredevil.
Yeah.
I know him best. I've known Goddard's work for years because he first came on in season 6 of Buffy, And then he did some work on Angel as well, and then directed and co-wrote Cabin in the Woods. He was the showrunner for Daredevil Season 1 originally, but then he left the show when Sony was still doing the last Andrew Garfield stuff to do a Sinister Six spin-off movie that then got canned when, they scrapped that whole universe.
Yes.
But wow, they're still really going to move forward? That seems...
Sounds like that's something that they want to do, even
strange.
though... Yeah.
Because I would have thought that these last 3 X-Men movies that are already in post-production would have been the last 3. Seems strange to do another one, but hey, I mean, if you think you can make money off of it before you kind of scrap it all. Disney CEO Bob Iger has said, unequivocally, that the X-Men are going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so that might push that date back as well.
Oh, funny you should mention that, because Lauren Schuler Donner, wife of Richard Donner, who has been the producer on every X-Men film, says she's looking forward to working with Marvel Studio President Kevin Feige to bring Feige. Sorry.
There you go. Third time's the charm.
Says she's looking forward to working with Marvel Studio President Kevin Feige to bring the X-Men into the MCU.
That's just her going, hope I still have a job! But we'll see.
I tied all the X-Men news in together.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth, by the way, speaking of the MCU, is done shooting on Avengers 4, which also means his contract is up. This was Avengers 4, which we know they were filming Infinity War and Avengers 4 kind of at the same time.
Yeah, he had a 6-picture deal, and then he extended it one when they split up this last Avengers movie.
So, his contract is done. Does that mean it's the end of Thor for him? No, he actually said, given the success and the fun he had with Ragnarok and recently with these Avengers movies, he is more than open to extending his contract to continue to play Thor, which maybe means Thor could make it through the Avengers movies, which kind of makes sense because he's a god, but Thor's died before, so there's also that.
Yeah, I mean, with any of these guys, they'd be like, I don't know if I'm going to come back. Here's the reality. You throw enough money at someone, they'll go like, yeah, I'll commit 2 months of my life, I guess. If you're going to throw that many millions at me, sure. After these original guys, because Downey Jr. is really the one who set the precedent for this. Also Hugh Jackman to a point, but lesser so. In the first Iron Man movie, Terrence Howard got the biggest paycheck. It wasn't Downey. Downey got nothing. And all the actors on their first go-arounds with these franchise movies, like Hemsworth, Evans, they got nothing for movie 1. But then they had perpetual growth for every movie. But now that their contracts are up and they've become literal cultural icons, they have all of the power. Disney has no power in these deals anymore. If they want to say, yeah, I'll be back, but you gotta pay.
Well, also remember...
Downey Jr.'s pay is a quarter of the Avengers budget.
But also remember when they did Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. they had to get insurance out for him, and somebody, I think it was Mel Gibson.
Yeah, it was Gibson. Yeah,
who put up the bond on him to be able to be in the film.
What was it? It was because he had just done Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which was success. I really like that movie. Go watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
That's with Val Kilmer, right?
Yeah, and it's the same director who did Iron Man 3. A Christmas movie with Robert Downey Jr. that's kind of quirky.
Because Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, that's where Val Kilmer says to him, you know what you find if you look at the picture, you look up stupid in the dictionary, he's like, a picture of me? No, the word stupid, which is what you are.
I don't remember that. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but it's a good movie.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you, I'll give you one more piece of news, and then I'm going to let you choose what you want to end on, okay?
All right.
Jeff Johns is going to be the co-head of DC Films now, instead of outright replaced by Walter Hamada, who came over from New Line.
Yeah.
John Berg has stepped down. So Jeff Johns is still going to be, he's going to be listed as the co-president of DC Films.
Which, in all fairness, Jeff Johns should be. Jeff Johns knows this world. He's an amazing writer. He's been an amazing writer for a lot of years. He's not new to this world. He should be. But did you look this guy up?
Who, Walter Hamada?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You know what he's done?
What?
A bunch of crap. He has been an executive producer or producer on a bunch of low-rent, half-assed, piece-of-crap horror movies. Literally, the only thing he's done that's been profitable, well, most of them, they've been profitable because, a lot of horror is easy to do. But he's done 17 things. 16 of them are crap.
Wow.
He was a producer on It, and that was his most recent credit. So when I saw the name, I'm like, who is this guy? Then I looked him up, I'm like, he has been attached to one good movie, and 16 of them were bad.
Oh. Well, if it makes you feel any better, they say things are going well with Shazam.
It doesn't make me feel better because this guy who's going to be running the show has done one good thing, which, who knows, producer roles are always kind of up in the air of what's their input, how much are they doing, are they just throwing money at it? There's always that, so it's always kind of unclear. There's some people who I know are like active participants in the creative process. Like Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest directors of our time, also one of the greatest producers of our time. Like what he adds to the production, what he adds to the creative input is a positive impact. This guy, I was looking at what he's done, I was like, everything is terrible.
Fair.
Except for one movie, which I'm not going to, I never like, it had this producer on it, so that made it good and or bad. So I have no idea. But when I saw his name, I didn't know who he was. Then I looked him up and I'm like, that's not great. Cool, I guess. Yay? Bad. Mostly bad. I'm not feeling good about it.
I guess John Burke stepped down after all the negative
Yeah.
flashing. All right, now you can choose. Do you want Batgirl news or Justice League news? Because there is Justice League news.
I know what the Batgirl news is, and I don't want to talk about it, so I guess Justice League.
Okay, so Batgirl it is. Lindsay Lohan has been tweeting at Joss Whedon and asking for retweets to be Batgirl in the upcoming DC MCU or CMU, whatever, ECU. But she's also gone on Instagram and made a play at Disney to be Ariel, the Little Mermaid, in the live-action Little Mermaid that they're starting to dial up.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
You don't think so?
No.
Her as Batgirl or her as the live-action Little Mermaid?
Neither one. No one would go with money is going to go near that mess.
Okay.
One, I want to see The Little Mermaid because Lin-Manuel Miranda's doing the soundtrack, so I'm all about that.
Yes. You just don't want to see Lindsay Lohan as the Little Mermaid?
Yeah, 100% no.
Clamshells on a tail, not doing it for you.
No, Lohan, no. No. Keep her away from everything.
All right.
And for Batgirl, no, she's never been... For every movie that she's done, she's never been close to that much money and the type of physicality and yeah, no, that's never going to happen.
You don't think she's going to be a good Barbara Gordon?
No, never. That will never happen. This isn't even really news. It's just someone going like, "Pick me."
Let me pitch you my Batgirl story. You want to do Batgirl? Why not maybe do Killing Joke as a live action?
100% no.
No?
No, you can't. If you're going to do
Not enough
live
Batgirl
action,
in it?
you can't do a Batgirl movie where she's the victim.
Okay, fair.
Would
you want to see a live action Killing Joke?
No. No. When I first read The Killing Joke, I was super on board for it. I don't know how much I mentioned on like when we kind of covered it. It's a story that I've become far less interested in as time goes on. There are certain scenes and certain aspects of that book that I really like. Like, I love the opening, and I love the ambiguity of the ending. The opening's amazing. Did you read the book, or did you just watch the movie?
No, I read N.
Yeah, I love that opening scene of Batman going to Arkham and being like, we need to talk. One of us is going to kill each other.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to do it first, but that's how this ends. I think that's great, but all the Batgirl stuff is so dark for dark's sake.
Okay,
It doesn't add much.
Well, that was Watchmen guy who wrote it, right?
Yeah, Alan Moore. And even Alan Moore is like, I don't really like it either. I don't even dislike it. There's parts of it that I dislike. There's parts of it that really shine through that are great, and there's parts of it that fall apart. And it's also not that long of a story, so even, being able to say that, I think, speaks to the reach that book has. It's only like 30 or 40 pages, but I can still be like, this bit works, this bit doesn't, yeah. So, no to Lohan. No hand. That's what I say.
Okay. Zach, did you spend any of your weekend rallying outside the Warner Brothers headquarters?
Oh, damn it, I saw this too. No, I didn't. I wasn't one of those 13 people. I'm sorry, this counts as news?
They're demanding they're demanding Snyder's cut of the film.
Release the Snyder cut. Literally the non-existent cut.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Anyway.
We've talked about this. It doesn't exist. You can't be like, release the Snyder cut. There isn't a Snyder cut. He left when principal photography was done. All of the effects that would go into post never happened. There is not a Snyder cut. They didn't finish the movie and go let's get a different guy.
One could argue that none of the effects ever made it to post.
Oh my god, yeah, that green screen is rough.
And
I don't think we ever mentioned it on the show. I think I mentioned it to you. That made it in. I usually cut those. But the reason that Justice League didn't have a date get moved when it came out in November is because all the execs that were on it, they wouldn't get their Christmas bonus if the movie was pushed back. That's why the movie came out in its essentially unfinished state. Because a bunch of people were like, fuck art, let's just get cash.
Anyway, that being said, I say that because the digital release comes out on January 30th, and then somebody, I don't know who, came across this, on Amazon Germany. Okay, I didn't know there were different Amazon whatevers, but
every country has a different thing. Like Australia is like AU and Canada's like
I knew
CA.
that. Yeah, and the EU is like European Union and whatnot. So there is the home version you can buy. They say the home version, like a home video game. The runtime for Justice League you can pre-order it for the DVD. is 135 minutes. Do you know what the theatrical runtime was?
Was it like
It
132?
was 120 minutes. It's 15 minutes longer.
Ah.
So it's not really an extended cut.
That's absolutely...
Yeah, it is. 15 minutes is...
The worst one I've ever seen, and this is Terminator Salvation had an extended cut, and throw that in the hardest, biggest quotations mark that you can add for extended cut. You know what the difference was?
What?
A shot of a topless woman.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Extended
So,
cuts can be
according to the
amazing.
website that you sent me and I used, it said that on Amazon Germany, the runtime is 15 minutes longer than the theatrical cut of 120 minutes.
Interesting, because there has been no announcement, to my knowledge, about an extended cut.
So maybe, I don't know, but that's just what somebody found on, maybe it's a typo on the Amazon Germany.
I stand by, we will get an extended cut 9 months down the road, so they can try and double down on cash.
Around Christmas time.
Yeah, just to make it so because the movie's a loss, so they can make a profit in digital and Blu-ray sales, but they can make even more of a profit if they hold off on doing the extended cut.
There you go. There's your news.
That's the news.
Did you enjoy the news segment?
I mean, I wanted more Exiles news.
I'm sorry. I gave you some, I did some Dial H for Hero news.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they're going to go with that, because that's so obscure.
I mean,
They might. Who the hell knows?
in a couple of the screenshots that were on the article I read, the villain Null was talking about him being part of the Dial, perhaps. So
It's not even, I don't know that book that well. It's not like I'm like a diehard like Dial H for Hero fan, but I know it enough, I guess.
now you do know Star Wars,
I don't wanna.
and did you know that there was a Japanese version of Star Wars that came out a year later?
Version or vague ripoff?
Vague ripoff, pretty much. Today we're going to do an Editor's Note Comics movie review of A Message from Space.
Damn it.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret. I'm always angry.
It's time for an Editor's Note podcast review.
This is what you get when you left me in charge. It was going to be this or a really bad Stallone movie. I think we're winning here. Because I remember saying right before Christmas time I wanted to do a really bad movie. We hadn't done one in a long time. My only regret right now about this is I didn't watch this with you. Because as I was watching it, I kept monologuing what you would say. Like, what the hell? What's happening? And just an obscene laugh. Like when, well, we'll talk about it here.
So
So-
what is this
So,
awful...
the year is 1978, 1 year after the release of Star Wars, which is a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah. So it was seen that Star Wars was kicking ass in America and around the world. So this guy named Kinji Fukusaku decided to make
Braver than I would be with the name.
he decided to make the most expensive film in the history of Japan up until that point. They estimated it cost between $5 and $6 million to make.
Half the price
Half.
of Star Wars.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, you Wikipedia this too?
Yes. Generally panned for being a Star Wars ripoff and shitty special effects, it's very much Mystery Science Theater 3000 worthy, and I made Zach watch it. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, shot number one is, I'm, as we've established on the show, I'm a Godzilla fan. Also, you didn't mention Godzilla in the news.
Oh, I totally forgot the Godzilla news. Going back to the news real quick.
So Toho, the same company who's going to be doing this anime.
Yes. Godzilla on Netflix. I see, because it was out of sequence. Godzilla's going to be on Netflix for a 3 movie deal in anime.
Wait, is it three? I
It's
didn't even
3.
know that. I just thought it was
The first
one.
first one
Jeez.
comes out on January 17th. It's the first in a trilogy, and it takes place 20,000 years in the future.
Yeah, so that's a first for Godzilla. Well, kind of not really. Godzilla has taken place in the future before, but it was like in the future of 1999 and stuff like that. I mean, I'm a big fan of... I'm not saying I'm a big fan. I am a probably more than your average person fan of Godzilla. Not a big fan.
Fair.
I haven't seen all of them by any stretch. I've probably seen half.
Yeah.
There's like 30 odd movies. I've probably seen half. Yeah, anime trailer. I think the design looks really interesting, and I'm just not an anime fan, so I don't really care.
Well, this is being billed as the final showdown between humans and Godzilla. And 20,000... First of all, kudos on us for making another 20,000 years.
Yeah, I'll be happy if we make it to next year. I don't personally care for anime, and people are always like, there are good ones. And I've even tried some of the good ones that just doesn't do... Like, even last year, I watched the anime for Ghost of the Shell, and I just didn't really care, and I read the book that it was behind, and, like, the manga and all that. I was like, yeah, it's just... I don't know why. I always just feel like anime and manga go, like, a step further than I'm willing to suspend my disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's with any kind of fiction, but that always just goes like a level beyond what I'm willing to do.
Is that, like you said, Ghost in the Shell, you weren't like...
Didn't really care. And I'm sure I could probably find one that I enjoy. I've just never really looked at. It's never interested me at all. I'm like, oh boy, anime Godzilla. Like, even the X-Men had an anime a few years ago, and I didn't bother watching that. So that tells you something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll try it, because if it's on Netflix, I don't have to pay for it. It's just there. Maybe I will. I thought the Godzilla design looked really cool. But when they start showing like all the humans jumping around in robots, I immediately went like, I don't care.
Pacific Rim-ish.
I like
Pacific Rim because it's his own...
I need to rewatch that movie. I was too harsh on it initially, I think. I was also drunk.
Yeah, well, fair. Anyway, back from anime to really poorly dubbed English movie.
So from one Toho thing to another. And all credit to Toho, they have been around for a long-ass time.
And they survived this movie.
Yeah, no kidding. This is like they threw down a big old budget on this and somehow kept on going. The nice thing about when they're doing the Godzilla movies, like, same costume, we don't care. It's literally falling apart on screen.
Whatever.
Yeah, let's set it on fire, the tail will fall off. Doesn't matter. Those things both happened.
Yes. Anyway, as we were going on.
On screen.
Yes. By the way, tons of spoilers. We're just going to go and run through this movie review. And if you want to watch it, it's up to you.
I mean, don't.
I mean... Anyway, the planet Drusilia, which is in the Andromeda Galaxy, they're attacked by the Ganavis Empire, which, by the way, there's a ton of Star Wars, to put it politely, references.
Yeah, you apparently also paid more attention than I did, because so much of the stuff they were saying was like, I got the general gist. I cannot be bothered to care about what's happening.
Well, no, I kind of went through and took down some extra notes. But anyway.
So you went to Wikipedia.
I did.
Yeah, okay.
I watched it, and then I was like, okay, I need to kind of rehash some stuff. Because like you, I kind of drifted in and out of the movie.
Yeah.
But they flee on their magical space boat.
They have a ghost pirate. There's a ghost ship. A ghost pirate ship.
The Goonies pirate ship in space.
In space. After they're catching fireflies on a green screen. Oh, God.
No, that was well before that, actually. So they send out these people, the Drusilias, send out 8 magical Libe seeds, which are really just glowing space nuts. That's all they are.
Yeah, these are just legitimately walnuts. They send walnuts.
That glow. Radioactive walnuts.
To find the chosen 8. Not the chosen 1. Because there's 8 of them. To find the chosen more than half dozen.
Yes. Well, this is all happening while Emperor Rakasia the 22nd.
God, you looked up the names. I didn't do that much.
He's a samurai-looking dude with a silver face and just really kind of an imposing figure. And you know he's the bad guy? You know how we know he's the bad guy? All of his drapery is what?
Well, his face is silver. That's mostly what I focused on.
Skulls and crossbones. That's all of his drapery, and all of the people on his little empire have skulls and crossbones on their uniforms.
With their samurais?
Yes.
Look, if you guys ever thought fighting, lightsaber versus laser was silly, wait till you see samurai sword versus laser.
Yes. Or versus laser whip, because that's a thing that happens.
Once. It happens once. They didn't have the money to do it more than once.
So anyway, while all this is happening, somewhere else in this godforsaken movie, 2 guys who are called Rough Riders, Shiro and Aaron, are space hot-rodding away from a space cop.
I hate Aaron. I hate Aaron so much. He's the one guy whose name I learned. I'm like, I hate you.
But the space cop, he's wearing a space, he's like a Chips helmet inside of a spacecraft chasing these 2 guys. And then they crash their ships. Why? Because they have glowing space nuts in them.
I didn't understand because they're playing like this game of chicken with him and they explain what chicken is. But it's like the cop has no control over his own ship. Like he's in this weird tractor beam following them. He's like, oh, I have to rush my ship at the ground and then pull up at the last second so I don't crash. But it's like he has no control over it.
He had a name, the cop.
Who cares?
I didn't write it down. That's how much I care.
Did that weird you out?
Yeah. He's the cop.
Why can't you just control your own ship? You know what? While they're running at the ground and pulling up at the last second, hover 20 feet above the ground. Yeah. You're fine.
You don't have to follow these a-holes.
You don't need to do the exact maneuver they're doing. Are you somehow... are you connected to their ships? What are you doing? What are you doing, random space cop?
He's not doing a very good job. Anyway, there's also this rich girl whose name is Mia, M-E-I-A. No coincidence to Leia, just one letter away on the alphabet.
Yeah.
So there's another...
Well, hey, there's also another Leia-esque character, so don't you worry when we find our space pirate ship princess.
Yes. She's like the princess of the Jusilias.
No, I didn't pay attention.
Oh, apparently not. Okay. Anyway, we also meet now this guy, General Garuda. All right, he's really like an American actor in Japanese movies.
Vic Morrow.
Vic Morrow,
who I know best from The Bad News Bears or from being decapitated on the set of the Twilight Zone movie.
But before that, he was in this movie.
Yes.
He's kind of the movie's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's a rocket burial for his robot.
I love that. Yeah, there's his first scene is it's a funeral. We don't know what it is. It's like a rocket being shot off into space. This is Hunter S. Thompson-esque funeral where they shot his remains off into fireworks with a Chinese like drumming band playing behind it. I'll look it up. It's a
and taps. They were playing taps as well.
Oh, Johnny Depp was at Hunter S. Thompson's. Was he in this movie?
No.
But yeah, then he gets reprimanded from his superiors because the funeral is for his robot assistant. He was the best one ever, but he was decommissioned and blah-de-blah, and then he quits the military.
And becomes a drunk.
He was already a drunk.
Well, he's been more of a drunk.
But he has a R2-D2 C-3PO combo. Number one, it's R2-D2 sized.
Yes.
And he makes beep bloop noises exactly like R2. But he has dialogue somewhat closer to C-3PO, but also closer to C-3PO in the prequels.
As we were watching this, we were like, what the hell is this? Why is he making me do this?
Well, the first thing that I thought was, oh, they stole that music from John Williams. But, you know, legally far enough away that John Williams can't sue them. It's Han and Leia's theme. Over and over. Oh my god, they don't have any soundtrack other than one thing. It's just the Han and Leia theme.
So, there he is, and he's enjoying his drink with, in the bottom, a glowing space nut. Somebody tried to space roofie this guy. All at this discount Mos Eisley Cantina, we meet this guy named Jack, who happens to be our comedic relief of the film.
I refer
also
to
another a-hole.
Yeah, I refer to this version of Mos Eisley as softcore Mos Eisley because it opens up with just these girls who are wearing like thongs and very tiny tops. They're just like, look at our butts, look at our butts. This is Mos Eisley, look at our butts.
So here's a couple of things, and this is one of the first instances in the movie, okay, that I kind of am like, yeah, it's a Star Wars ripoff, but kind of what the ripping off hadn't happened yet, all right? I think this is a 50-50 one, because Jack is a mouthpiece for this guy named Big Sam, who is a fat gangster who wants to get money back from our heroes.
What I loved about this guy is he kept on yelling, like, they're in a restaurant, / Mos Eisley. He kept on going, like, give me the dough, give me the dough. And I'm like, he's a big fat man. Does he just want pizza? Like, I'm kind of confused here. It wasn't until he said, like, give me the money. I was like, okay, so it's not actual...
And he was in, like, total kabuki uniform, too.
So not actual dough, just money, not pizza dough.
So there's, like, one of two instances. Fat Big Sam, Jabba the Hutt, okay? Yeah, I get it.
But Jabba the Hutt hasn't happened yet.
No. But they talk about Jabba in the first movie, in New Hope. But here's the one thing that hadn't happened in New Hope that I was like, huh, that's interesting. He's going to throw them in quicksand. You know what that sounds like to me? The Sarlacc pit.
I thought you were going to say carbonite.
No, there's no sand in carbonite. Our rich girl, Mia, will help these broke-ass guys, Shiro and Aaron, from certain doom by being buried in quicksand if they take her space swimming around radioactive fireflies in the Forbidden Zone. This was the most dumb part of the movie up to this point.
She sees these fireflies earlier in the movie. She's being piloted away from something to something else. Don't remember, don't care. But the thing that I loved about it is that the guys who are piloting the ship are still dressed exactly like pilots are in the 20th century. Like the exact same garb.
Yeah.
Well, that not just make you feel like that's hilarious. Like, oh, look at the future. So much technology. Pilots still dress like pilots, though.
But here's, like, the interesting thing about that. They're in outer space, right? But all they have on is really what is a respirator with, and they're pretty much naked.
The vacuum of space means nothing in this universe.
So they have a mouth breather on, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's it.
A lot of questions.
And beyond that, they're just, like, on a harness swimming in front of a green screen, which is hilarious. It's real bad.
So anyway.
These fireflies also mean nothing. They just pick them up and like, they're ash now.
Meanwhile.
Firefly scene over.
So while this is happening, the ghost ship comes flying in, and they're out of the ship, and they like go onto it, and all this crap happens. And while this all happens, the Ganavas come knocking on Earth.
Look, what we learn about the spaceship is there's a planet who's being overrun by an evil empire, and there's a princess wearing all white who is trying to get heroes to save their world. But what's different from Star Wars, it's their god who's getting heroes.
Yes. using space nuts and not the Force.
Yeah.
Glowing space nuts.
Fantastic.
So all this kind of happens, and our heroes kind of take the space princess away to try and protect her. And then the Ganava's like, okay, let's go fuck with Earth. So they come to Earth, and they're like, oh yeah, you guys have 3 days to surrender, or we're going to kill you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sucks. So our heroes end up on this planet with this old miser woman and a guide who's supposed to take and explain the meaning of these space nuts to them.
I hate this woman. This woman is my least favorite part of the movie.
And, well, she actually is like the Empress, I guess. But she plays the role of this old miser, and she's able to steal and get the space princess. But while all this is happening, this one guy turns into a green lizard guy and has a space whip that is a laser. As she's fighting off the green lizard man's space whip, some of these Empire dudes come in with these guns and just lay waste to everybody. Mostly the lizard guy. He gets vaporized.
Like, if this movie sounds random, it's only because it is. Like, there's a point when you're watching it where you just have to give up being like, yeah, things are happening, I guess. Whatever. You know, connective tissue be damned. We're in a new scene, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of connective tissue, we found some in the form of Prince Hans, who has a one-horned helmet, and his parents were killed by the evil Emperor Rakasia. And he's like, I really should be in charge. And this Rakasia guy is really screwing stuff up. So you know what? I'm going to help you.
You say those words, I watched this movie today, and that brings up nothing.
Yeah.
In my brain, like...
This is where they're sitting around that campfire.
Okay. The movie itself, what's really funny about it, aside from the other things that are really funny about it, is the production value is all over the place. Like, in Bees, it's all really terrible. Sometimes it's really friggin' amazing. Then 5 minutes later, it will be just garbage. It doesn't know what it wants to be. Actually, I know what it wants to be. It wants to be Star Wars.
It does.
But they don't have the money to be Star Wars. And it's just all over the place. It's so strange. Like, especially early on. I think the highest production value comes early in the movie.
They blew their budget early.
I think it was intentional. Like, show your best stuff up front, kind of draw people in, and then, like, we ran out of cash. But some of the movie looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
And
some of it looks really bad.
Yeah, there's no consistency.
So General Garuda, remember him? Our drunk Obi-Wan asshole? He's called in by the World Council Leader of Nations, or whatever it's called.
Like the Space Council of Earth, something dumb like that.
Anyway, he's like, yeah, we got a problem with these people, and we need you to go try and make peace with them. So he's like, well, I guess, because I have this glowing space nut that's telling me to do so.
He's like, I quit the military. I shot my friend into space. And then I got this other robot who's an asshole. Who makes bad jokes, but not C-3PO prequel bad.
No,
I'm just beside myself.
This is such a drag.
Boy.
Anyway, so our boy Garuda goes and meets with Rakasia the 22nd. Can't believe there were 21 assholes named Rakasia before him. And challenges this other guy to a duel, but the guy goes not even 10 steps before he draws his weapon. So Rakasia's like,
I love that.
The guy's like, oh, screw you for breaking the rules, and shoots him dead.
Yeah, they're gonna, do your typical Western, 10 paces, and then he shoots him at, pace 8.
Yes.
Just, wings him in the shoulder. Yeah, so Rakasia just kills him. He's like, no! You play by the rules!
Remember what Rakasia does right after that?
No.
He blows up the fucking moon.
Oh, that's fair.
He blew up our moon. No more tides. So the climactic battle gets going on here as our heroes all collapse in on his little back, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But Prince Hans has decided to help. So it's Prince Hans, General Garuda, your boy Aaron, Rich Girl Mia, and Shiro. And Shiro and Aaron are in charge of flying around and blowing up the reactor of this ship. Stop me if you've heard this before.
It's all. I do love that they increased the size. Instead of being 2 meters wide, this one's 10 meters wide.
But they have to go in through the actual ship, and they have to go inside and run through the reactor tunnel. Sounds a lot like Return of the Jedi. Hadn't happened yet.
It's definitely 100% just it's only 2 meters wide. We have to do the trench run, get the shot off.
Yes.
You know what it is. It's Star Wars.
It is. It is definitely Star Wars.
Also, all the ships look like Star Destroyers. Side note.
But square house Star Destroyers. Speaking of which, that one laser beam that shot down on the old woman's house and just blew it up unceremoniously. Anyway, Prince Hans gets the better of Rakasia, stabs him in the eye with his magical sword, and then Rakasia flies out of a space window.
As you do.
Yes. Then the Rough Riders, who somehow fixed their ships with no money, have to fly through the reactor tunnel, as we said, and they blow shit up. And they come out the other side, and here's a direct quotes from Star Wars, "We did it! Yay!" That's actually what happens. And they blow everything up, including a planet. Lots of stuff blows up.
Oh yeah, they're like, we need to blow up our own planet so they don't take us over. Weird plan, by the way.
Yeah, we can't have our planet, you can't have it either. Anyway, Earth wins, and the Drusilian refugees are allowed to be on Earth, but they're like, no, we blew up our planet, and we're not going to take your planet, we'll just go find a new planet.
We'll go back to our literal pirate ship. If you're thinking of anything that isn't a ghost pirate ship, you're incorrect, because it is 100%
A translucent
a ghost pirate
ship.
ship. Yeah, no.
In space.
Yeah, weird.
I tried to combine things you like. Pirates, space.
When do I say I like pirates?
You like pirates now. Space pirates. Like Han Solo.
The only pirate I think of off the top of my head that I enjoy is when Ben Grimm goes back in time and he becomes Blackbeard.
Maybe General Gruda is more like the Han Solo of the movie. Can't really figure it
I
out.
love that he's drunk. He's just drunk.
Maybe he is
entire
the Han
time.
Solo of the movie.
Not a little drunk. He's hard drunk and angry.
His robot friend is dead. And he launched him in a rocket.
We got a new one who's also drunk and the worst.
A drunk robot. Figure that one out. Anyway, that was the thing. I made Zach watch it. Sober. So
Yeah.
I think I win, and I'll probably never be in charge of the podcast ever again now after this.
In 100 episodes. Episode 194, baby. You can take over again.
So on our patented rated system of watch it in theaters, red box it, or don't bother.
I really enjoyed the first 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes were a lot of fun. It was relatively well paced. The effects were a little all over, but they weren't bad. It was cheesy, but not bad cheesy. Sometimes you watch, bad sci-fi from really any era where it's like there's a lot of talking just because they don't have a budget and it's kind of dull. This movie was smart enough to put a lot of good stuff in the front. The middle is a tough watch.
They have like the whole wreath in the water ceremony and all that other stuff that we totally glossed over.
Yeah, the middle is Act 2 of this movie is a rough watch, and Act 3 is kind of rough as well because you don't just care at that point. The first 30 minutes is fine. If this movie was 40 minutes shorter, I would probably recommend it, but it's just too long. Maybe we'll do it one year for Christmas, like Santa Claus versus the Martians.
Oh, they did that on Mystery Science Theater.
That movie's short as hell.
Yes.
It's terrible and tight, and it's totally watchable because it's short. This movie doesn't have that advantage. This movie is feature length, and you're
An
just
hour
like,
45.
You're like, my God, just end. After the first 30 minutes.
When they killed Rakesia at the end, I actually went, ha! I laughed. I was like, what the hell happened?
As much as I would like to recommend it because there are certainly enjoyable moments and it does have a wonderful cheesy quality to it.
Did you see the movie poster for this? The U.S. movie poster?
No, I guess not. Help! It just says help!
It has to help us. It says, message from space, where fantasies are real and reality is fantastic.
Yeah, that's not true. That's also a dumb tagline.
Would you believe it or not? Because this is like part of a run of like really weird Asian sci-fi movies.
Yeah, there's a bunch, and I have no experience with them. There are a bunch of like Star Wars imitators or Star Wars just straight theft. And the DVD for this was put out by Shout Factory, and they release a lot of weird old movies that probably would have been forgotten without them, so kudos to them for snagging this artifact.
Yes. So here's an interesting tidbit also, by the way. So Message from Space spun off a 27-episode TV series.
Is that why that was in my recommended viewing on YouTube?
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
27. Did it have... They were 30-minute episodes?
Don't watch this. This is...
It has a manga adaptation, too. Adaptation.
Of course it does.
So, yeah.
You did me wrong, Toho. You've done me right many a time, but this one, you fell short.
This was totally on me. This is my idea.
Hey, I mean, it's out there. It's different.
And that was A Message from Space.
What's with the title?
I don't know. I didn't come up with it. The message was sent in the glowing space nuts.
What's even weirder is they kept the nuts. Like, if I found a random, like, chestnut, I would just immediately discard it. Be like, that's weird. And I just get rid of it.
What if it was glowing?
But they didn't glow initially. They were just there. They didn't glow until later on.
But they
"We
showed
have
up in
been
random parts of
chosen."
their body or places or things.
So it was like, there's a chestnut in your drink. I just throw that chestnut in the trash.
Is
Or
it-
we crashed our spaceships. There's a chestnut. Be like, I guess really doesn't matter. I just crashed a spaceship.
What do you think of all the explosions at the end? There were a lot of explosions.
They did love those. I actually kind of enjoyed them.
They blew a lot of things up at the end.
Because all of this, or not all of it, but 95% of it's practical. Like, obviously, like the laser blast and stuff they had to add in. But a lot of practical effects. Some of them work, some of them don't.
Most of them don't. Actually, some do.
Some of them really do, especially that stuff. Like the first half hour of this movie is pretty good.
We're like, oh wow, he picked a good one. What is he talking about? This movie is outrageous.
Well, I think the shot that I love the most is they show, like, I'm sure they stole it from Star Wars, like getting the underside of the Star Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
But you see the underside of a ship kind of like slowly going away, and I totally bought that. That looked great.
What about the one where it just kind of rises up out of a platform?
Less good. Yeah, the one with like the jets underneath.
Yes.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah, not as good.
No.
But do you know the one I'm...
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Some of the effects are like, I'm like, this isn't bad. And it's not that much of a ripoff, other than the John Williams music that is 90% John Williams.
It's like the Diet Coke.
Yeah, no, I can't recommend it. I still stand by the best bad movie we've watched is Fantastic Four.
That was pretty good.
Or We Wish You a Turtle's Christmas.
But this is in the Hall of Fame for certain.
This is up there with bad, no question.
Well, I wasn't aiming for good. Anyway, if we want to go to the store and find some cool shit.
Oh, is that it? You only have 2 segments?
Oh, I didn't get a letter to the editor. I didn't.
That's fine. You could have made up your own segment. You just didn't. That's fine.
I didn't. I usually take for granted that you have the letter to the editor.
Do you want me to give you a letter?
No, because this is my show.
Okay, fine. I could give you one.
We're gonna play word association with Zach.
Oh, damn it! I don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do it either. Sure, fire off a letter for get a letter.
Okay, fine. Oh crap! I have a new phone. I haven't set up my email yet.
All right, never mind. I'll ask you a random.
Hang on, no, I know one. I know one off the top of my head.
Okay.
I remember one.
Yeah.
2
segments. Those were quality ass segments, man.
No, I know one off the top of my head. Letter theme. Boom.
Lot of questions, number one. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
Because this will be a quick and easy one, because I know my answer. Vague letter that I remember that was written to us. Do you think Star Wars will ever be rebooted?
No.
No. This is a massive galaxy, and there's been so much. I mean, the old expanded universe, which I know next to nothing about, plus the new one that they've been building out. And this is a literal universe. This is something that just, like, they stack layers on and blocks upon, and they might rely on a core probably more than they should, considering how big of a universe it potentially is. Go read Dr. Aphra, by the way. What a great title about a new original character within the books. But
wasn't a recent book, a Star Wars book, having Leia learning how to ride a tauntaun on it? Well, that might be in an upcoming book. I was reading it in the news.
That might be a novel.
No, it's a graphic.
Oh, it's a comic? I haven't seen that. I read most of the Star Wars comics. I haven't seen that.
Maybe it's coming up later this month, where Leia learns how to ride a tauntaun.
Maybe. But
I didn't think that was really newsworthy.
No, my short answer
because they smell bad on the outside.
Yeah. My short answer is no. I don't think Star Wars will ever get rebooted.
I'm going to jump in. All right. No, and the reason being, it's like you said, it's almost too massive to reboot. A. B. What would you do in a reboot? We've already seen it before. Why would we want to see? And we kind of got a mini reboot and a rehash of it with Force Awakens. And then when they tried to change things a little bit in Last Jedi, people lost their collective minds. So no reboot.
You could always scrap the comics. You could easily do that, because I mean, some of them are good, some of them are bad. Luckily, most have been good. There's been a few real duds, the easy ones for me to go to for just like bad ones. Explaining how C-3PO got his red arm, done by an amazing comic writer, James Robinson, is a complete piece of crap. And the most recent complete piece of crap, it was a one-shot explaining how they found Crate in the first place, like the planet, and it was a base, but it really wasn't, and it is an awful one-shot. I still have a couple of copies in the store. Feel free to buy them.
It sucks, but spend your money on it.
Please do.
That's not really good marketing.
I'm sick of looking at them. Well, that's...
By the way, do you know what Shinobi got in Winthrop officially last week?
Oh, yeah.
16 inches.
So does someone get a thing?
No, if I was wrong.
Oh.
I was right, so nobody got a thing.
How can you tell?
It was on the National Weather Service.
Well, and some parts of my driveway were literally bone dry because of the wind.
No, you take an average measurement and reading. And a lot of times people that do it, like trained weather spotters, have a wind-sheltered snowfall area. So if we want to stop by the store and buy that terrible one-shot, where do we go?
Oh, God, it's really bad.
Wait, do I get to do your plugging? The actual store is at 210 Water Street in Hollowell. You can also check out Editor's Note Comics online, editorsnote.com, Facebook, Instagram,
Editorsnotecomics.com. Come on, get my URL right.
Sorry, editorsnotecomics.com. Also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the internets, Pinteresting. as well.
Not that one and barely Instagram.
Well, whatever. You can follow the store's Instagram and see pictures of Kirby mostly.
Yeah, I guess.
If you want to get the show a day early, go to patreon.com/editorsnotecomics. $1 a month. Is it $1 a month? Yeah, $1 a month.
Yeah, that's the min.
You get this show a day early, and you get the Buffy back issue bin a whole week early in advance on Patreon. Every dollar counts.
It really does.
And I'm on Twitter, @JuniorRich. Did I forget anything outside the letter to the editor?
No. I mean, like I said, you can make the show your own. Do what you want. I don't care.
I had fun with this one.
You're like, I run this.
I did. There was quality news. There was something in there that excited you. There was a terrible movie to watch.
Yeah, next week we're back talking about Rock.
Da, 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 da.
It's the Eye of the Tiger.
No, stop. This was a good show. Don't ruin my show with your terrible singing.
I'm no Survivor.
No, you are not.
I know none of the band members of Survivor,
Well,
so they're just Survivor in my eyes.
You did survive a message from space.
Which
there was never really a message. It was just glowing space walnuts.
And a pirate ship. Yeah, just go watch Star Wars. I guess we'll be back. If you want to find the Pride of Philadelphia next week, baby, we're back talking it. Plus Creed.
Oh, Black Panther sale. I think it's just went on sale.
Yeah, I noticed that right before the show started. We'll get around to that.